All right, so how many in the room were Bold graduates? Not now?
I have had 3 emails just since yesterday.
Do you think it's more companies that are purchasing them and then assigning them and selling the contracts? Or is it people that just can't complete the contracts?
These are actually individual agents that are sending this information out.
So, okay, for clarity, come on in. So individual agents are putting offers in, executing contracts, and then reassigning the contract.
Yes, and we have to, like on one of them, she told me we have to close by the 14th of this month.
Okay.
It's a non-refundable $5,000, and the buyer pays the commission.
And you have the buyer?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're supposed to see the property tomorrow.
Okay.
This was the 3rd one that I got last night. She was the only one who responded to my emails.
Come on in.
But
Okay.
I'm just not proficient enough to know, it's probably not a good deal for my buyer.
Uh-huh.
But I also want to know, I know probably more people here in Austin do that than they do up in the Bell County.
Perfect person to answer this question, Miss Avis. Assignment of contracts. that is happening.
Back in the day, assignments were considered the next best thing to mortgage fraud. And so everyone in the title business was very fearful of any contract that came in that said and or assigns. There was a time prior to that when it was a legitimate way to do business. And I think we're kind of headed in that direction right now, but you've got to be very, very, very careful with it. So what's the real question?
So the real question is this something, I have a buyer who we go to look at the property tomorrow, has to close by the 14th of this month, $5,000 non-refundable fee, he pays the commission, but my concern is this is probably more of an attorney deal, and just let him, if he wants to do it, have the attorney draw up the...
Well, okay, so $5,000 non-refundable whatness, what is that? Deposit?
The seller's agent is telling her the terms.
Yes.
Oh, those are the terms.
Those are the terms.
And to write that would be the unauthorized practice of law.
Okay.
For you to write that. Or for the agent with the listing to write that. Unless they have a law degree, because they might, would be the unauthorized practice of law. It would all come close to suggesting that, gets close to that. How about an option fee of $5,000, which is non-refundable and legitimate and part of our contract? That would be legitimate, something you could do.
Okay.
Suggest that to the other side, unless they want to pay for the attorney who's going to draft that language.
She's saying she's seeing this a lot.
Yeah, we got 3 emails yesterday.
What's going on?
I don't know. It's in Bell. They're all 3 in Bell County.
All the same company, different companies?
2 of them are from the same agent. One is from a different. And this is the thing, is that I know them to be agents, but on their emails, they're actually like Rehabilitation LLC companies. No mention of the realtor things.
So they're violating the law already?
There's about, with one of them, there's about a $50,000 profit in there. But here was my question is that not ever having dealt with those, I wanted to know whether or not there was more of that going on here. And
Anybody?
It's just now making its way.
Anybody working that in Williamson County? Nobody's seeing that.
Stephanie, did you say the seller could be assigned to someone else?
No, so this agent has purchased, she has an offer, or a contract in on this property, and she is wanting to assign it
Oh,
before closing, and basically, I'm presuming there's some fee in there for her.
So the client is just a consumer, not a license holder? Yes? Your client?
Yes.
Buyer client?
Yes.
And who are they assigning it to? Or do you know?
No, my buyer would be the one they are assigning it to if he decided to
In other words,
do this.
Oh, the realtor has it under contract.
the realtor
Yes.
has a business model where they purchase
It
and
under
or
their
assigns,
business.
and then she's looking for the assigned.
Okay.
And so she's approaching her with these terms.
Yikes.
Yes. And actually, we had one agent do that in Plano, but Bob Baker was all over him, every contract, everything.
And what I told the buyer this morning is that if he wanted to buy it, we could go look at it tomorrow, but that if he wanted to go buy it, he would need to get an attorney. I could help him to sell it, but I said, here's a question is that if you buy this, can you resell it in a month? Or is there some sort of, and that was another question that I had for y'all. If anyone had ever done anything like that. Because I don't wanna touch it from the purchase side.
That's a lender question, if there's any.
Is that what they call wholesale? Anyway, where they're wholesaling?
Yeah.
To some degree, it's wholesaling. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well then, I was right, I'm good.
but how
Okay.
do you know that they even have the right to assign it? I mean, you would almost have to see their contract.
True assignment has documents that prove that they have the right to have an assignee. How do you like that? Well,
Is there a way about trying to do this, the iBuyer situation now?
no, this is a flipper.
All right.
This is a flipper trying to end around having a real estate license.
But in general, you don't want to be, you don't want to do assignment contracts.
In general, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, in general, that's true. In commercial real estate, they do that some, but as you know, you grew up in the business in the days of that being basically every chance somebody could do mortgage fraud. That's how it began to look, and so title companies were all like, "Oh my God, it's a mortgage fraud," because you're doing an assignment, which is it's like a trick assignment. It's not like real. It's like, okay, I'm going to assign it to you, and then you're going to assign it to her, and,
And
you're
on
gonna
the
assign
seller's end, you don't really,
and every one of us is going to make $5,000, and he's going to get stuck with it. You know.
well, the seller's end, you don't really want to do it for the fact of, if that person doesn't assign, then they have an out.
Yep. Yep.
Well, but it says your name and or assigns, right? So
Yep. But there needs to be documents that.
We used to do that.
Oh yeah, back in the day, we did. I did, and it worked well. I mean, you know, you find some kind of really good deal, and you put it under contract, and then somebody says, "Hey, I need a house," and it turns out to be that house, and made a little money and kept going. But that now is everybody's just scared to death that you're going to cheat them out of 36 cents
Okay.
or not. You know,
So what kind of documents do you say they need? They're
it's a lawyer stuff. It's a lawyer. They have to draft documents.
Definitely have a lawyer, bottom line.
That's why commercial, almost always the clients have attorneys. And so they, if they've done commercial real estate, they are accustomed to that process. Their lawyer should be a real estate lawyer, well-schooled in what they need to do. And that's when it works right, is that way. The way it doesn't work is in your business when you're doing residential and nobody has enough money to actually pay their closing costs, much less a lawyer to draft anything.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
We dealt with that last week.
Yeah, well, on and on and on and on. That's a good question.
So how did the determination come out with Keller Williams on the Texas, the company? that
Texan offers?
Put on hold, yeah.
Why did we do that?
Yeah.
Because it scared me to death when I was at the Texas Realtors Conference and heard about a lawsuit and visited with the executive director of the commission about what they were looking at in terms of breach of fiduciary duty with iBuyer situations. And I went, pull the plug, red alert.
I could read you the email if you want me to. That's pretty much what it said.
I think she did a good job.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the lawsuit was basically the broker had to pay for the same house twice, because even though someone signed all the documents that said, I know that I'm getting less money, and I know, and I need to do that, and I'm good with this, and I know what we're doing here. I know you're going to turn around and put it on the market and sell it for more money, and I'm, all this stuff drawn by lawyers. And then they came back later and said, I was under a lot of distress, and I really didn't know what I was doing. And they sued, and the broker had to pay not only what they had paid, I mean, they paid it to get out of the lawsuit because the lawsuit would cost more than doing this. Mm-hmm. They paid whatever they paid for the iBuyer thing, and then they paid market value now, or what they had sold it to the subsequent buyer for. Uh-huh. So they paid for it twice, basically, plus their lawyer fees to get to that place. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that scared me was a meeting we had with our lawyers where they said that we needed to have enough money committed and available to buy everything we made an offer on.
Nice.
And $1 million wouldn't have been enough money.
Yeah.
You understand? And I know that some people, like my children, think that I am completely made of money. Let me just say again, that is not true. Yeah, well, he lied.
Basically, it would have come down to us having to have about $28 million.
Committed. We didn't have to have it in the bank, but we had to have like 28 people with $1 million who said, yes, you can have my $1 million anytime you want it immediately. Mm-hmm. And I don't know those people, nor do I run with those people. So, anyway.
So are you at liberty to share who the lawsuit was?
It's a San Antonio lawsuit. That's all I'm going to say. Keller Williams situation. So, and that could happen to any time to one of our deals. And breach of fiduciary duty is kind of what our lawyers talk to us about, because our duty to our client is a duty of trust, and their interest above our own. And so the concern at the real estate commission level, particularly if a brokerage firm is doing the iBuyer and and there wasn't enough arm's length between us and although we created a separate entity, we had investors, all the investors and all the officers or partners or managing members, whichever, I think it was an LLC, were part of this brokerage firm. And that's very easily pierced in a lawsuit because it's all the same. So if we had a group of people that work at the school that put together an entity that wanted to be an iBuyer, and we just knew them, and we referred our business to them, that would be an arm's length. And the commission would say, we were really not at all. We had breached our fiduciary duty in every single situation from a regulatory standpoint. Every single situation where we made an offer, we breached our duty because we didn't put their interest above our own, because our real interest is over here in making the iBuyer entity profitable. Whether that's true or not, that would be what regulatory would say, and that's what lawsuit would say. So, stop. Anyway, sorry.
So other companies that are doing this are...
They need, well, the ones, they will get theirs too if they are not doing it right. And it really needs to be, many of those companies have a relationship with a brokerage firm. I think a lawsuit will pierce that also. And you know, one thing I never wanted to see, and I said this to Scott another time before I pulled the plug, was the billboard as you come into town that said, feel like you got screwed by Keller Offers or Texan Offers or whatever we were? Call me, 1-800-CHEAP-LAWYER. We're creating a class action lawsuit.
Guy.
Yeah, class action lawsuit. Yeah, that has some ones down by Manor coming in from, yeah. So that's what I didn't want to see, because our attorney is good, but I really don't need to fund his next hunting trip. I like him a lot, you understand?
So does Open Door have enough arm's length?
I don't know.
We don't know.
I don't know.
But they have their own brokers, right?
Well, and the difference, one of the differences with Open Door, I would say, is that they don't take any listings outside of properties that they own. I don't know if that makes a big difference or not, but
I don't either.
we
We'll-
should have
we'll
access
watch
to
it.
Keller offers the middle of this month
Yeah.
for our office.
Well, and I talked to them on the phone. Scott had them here, and he called me, and I got on the phone with them and voiced all of my concerns that they be real careful that all of their investors weren't also somehow related to one of or other brokerage firm that we have and all that kind of stuff. And they claimed as they talked to me, and I knew one of the person was on the call who's not a lawyer. We've had lots of lawyers look at this, and I was like, yeah, I wasn't there. I can't claim. I don't know if I believe that. So, I mean, I'm sure they have had lawyers look at it. Were they the right ones? I don't know. But it will not be our liability, then it will be theirs. And they got more money than we do.
And actually, in all reality, it's not so much their liability anymore now because of the fact that while it's Keller Offers that is creating it, it's really being done through a third-party company called OfferPad.
Yeah, right. That's
So,
right.
yeah.
So I'm seeing listing agents tell their clients to wait until December to list.
Why would they do that?
Why?
That's what I'm asking.
Well, because that's when it's the slowest time of the year, December 15th through January 30th. I don't know why they do that. Just say
That was funny. Okay, at first I was like, he's lost his mind.
Are you seeing this often? Like,
Yes, from different agents.
are they telling you or?
No, my clients were telling me, my buyer clients
Oh.
are saying that their listing agents are telling them to wait until December to list. And I'm thinking, I've never told a client.
That's got to be a class that somebody went to.
Yeah, so Brian Buffini does a lot of research on data, and he knows there are 3 time periods during which 85% nationwide of all the sales take place. The slowest period is December 15th to January 30th. The third busiest is September 15th through November 15th. And so I don't know why they would.
So let me get this right. Other agents are telling you that?
No,
Telling
buyers.
The buyers I am getting have a house to sell. And their listing agents are coming back and saying, don't list now, wait till December.
Is this a different market?
It's Dallas.
Okay.
That shouldn't make any difference.
Right.
And I asked, well, help me understand that, because usually, I haven't ever told a client to wait until December to list their house.
No.
So maybe this is an opportunity for you to build a relationship with someone else that they could talk to that would list when they're ready to list.
Well, based on what Tom just said, this is the third busiest time of the year.
And our
I
multi-year
was just wondering if
our
you
multi-year
had
trend
that.
report for us shows exactly that same thing. Like this is one of the busier times of the year for us.
I have a great document that says why list during this time, November, December.
Well, we'd never tell a seller, don't list now, period. Whenever now is.
Yeah.
Lots of sellers, well, at least back in another lifetime when I
think
was
as
doing what you
look at
do.
these buyers, I think it's because they have kind of weak agents as listing agents, and they're just saying, well, I've got all this to do to get the house ready. Now, I'm just thinking this in my head. And so they're letting
Can I
them
comment on this real quick?
put it on.
Yeah.
What I would
What do I know?
suggest is to go to TexasRealEstate.com has a search, and you can search any market for stats. And they're about 30 to 45 days behind in how they deliver those.
Is that from A&M? Is that from the Research Center?
Yes.
Yeah, you can also get it from the Research Center.
You can get it from the Research Center. You can go to kwstats.com, also has them. And what it'll show them is their specific zip code. So because, it could be neighborhood to neighborhood specific as to when one neighborhood seems to sell better than others, or what price points, what point are the price
Do you
points
hear
higher or
anything?
lower. And then they can make the decision based on that, so you're not telling them, they're seeing it, and if they make a decision to list it when statistically it's a lower listing time, say December 17th, right, maybe the lowest time, and they say that, at least you can show that you've given them that information, and so then it's just a question about pricing accordingly. That's how I would handle that.
Another thing is predicting what's gonna be happening. You don't know what's gonna happen next month, you know what's going on today.
Correct.
And if the
But-
market crashes for whatever reason,
And it shows year-over-year data, so it will show the last 2 years of what things are doing, so it just gives them an idea. That doesn't mean that this specific market may have a boom or a bust this year, but at least it gives them historical knowledge, so that way you're showing them stats instead of, well, I think that.
Do y'all know about kwstats.com? Okay, it's just kwstats.com. That's all you have to do is go there, and then you'll put in your MLS ID for whichever MLS you're a part of. Works for all of them. And then you just hit the OK button, and then you're going to choose the area that you want. So I'm going to say GTW, Georgetown West, and then click Create Report. And then we can click on it, and it's got this report for us right here.
That nobody can read
Well, yeah.
from here.
Rather small.
I see
right there.
KW.
Okay, so if they have an agent already,
So if they're telling Judy they already have a listing agent, they're.
yeah, in another,
Correct.
in another
If they
market,
don't have a signed agreement, we can say whatever, but if they do,
if they do
they're
have,
asking us, and they're asking us questions,
Yes, thanks for clarity, yes.
okay,
they'll answer if they're asking
Yes,
us questions,
yes.
because they're approaching us.
yes, yes.
No, I'm saying if the clients are asking you questions,
You can answer the question if you know the answer, yes.
there you go. Just to clarify, just.
And we never, ever, 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 never, ever say anything bad about the other agent, even if we know something. Or think something or feel something. We just don't do it. We just don't do it. That's a violation of law and the code of ethics. I mean, even if you know something, even if you can't stand them, even if they screwed up the last deal so bad you can't stand it, just be like your mama said. If you can't say something good, don't say nothing.
So I have a question kind of related to that. What if let's just say I have an agent, I have a buyer and I'm showing them homes and they are interested in a house that I know the builder and I know they don't do a good job of building that
It's
home.
factual. You can tell your opinion.
Okay.
And that's a builder, not a realtor.
They don't build contracts very well. Just saying.
Does everybody know about the bond election coming up on the November, for the county bond election for roads and parks? Round Rock Chamber of Commerce has done a white paper on that, and if I can get a copy of that, I'll send it to you so you can read about it, because it's really a pretty important bond. And if you're vote registered, you don't know about it? You don't think it's good? What?
No, I haven't read it.
Yeah, I'll get it out to you.
You know?
Well, are we thinking maybe we need a little bit of help with transportation in Williamson County with some roads? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So it'll just show you what the projects are. They really did a kind of interesting thing. They got a citizen group together, which I was not part of, thank goodness, and said, what do you think needs to be done? And they identified, like, I don't know, a zillion projects, whatever, and they figured out there was however much money that was going to be to do all these projects they came up with, and then they had to prioritize because we didn't have enough. We couldn't do it all. But it's kind of an interesting process that they took all that input from citizens to come up with what they were going to do. I was proud of the Commissioner's Court for that.
Nice.
Sorry, nothing to do, except it does affect us, because what the Commissioner's Court does about transportation and parks affects how people feel about the quality of life in Williamson County.
Yeah, the Commissioner Court also decided that live PD wasn't a good thing for our county too. Why? Live PD?
I don't know what that is. No.
It was like a modern day cops, but it was actually live. And they said that
With real people.
With real people. They said that it wasn't a good representation of Williamson County because we were going around arresting people who were doing the wrong things.
Okay. I didn't know that, and I didn't watch that, so, I kind of like watching Gunsmoke. Because you know the good guys are going to win. No matter what, the good guys.
Any other questions? What do y'all got going on out there?
I went on a listing appointment yesterday, and I was
Congratulations.
excited. Thanks. I was very excited when I was leaving.
All right, let's hear the story.
So I went to Granger and checked out a lot that he wanted to sell, and then I went to Taylor to meet him, and it was very bad. So I got there, and there was another guy ahead of me, not to list, but he was doing it for sale by owner. And, side note, there was an old KW sign laying down in the side from somebody out of San Antonio. Anyway, so I got to listen to this guy that owns
Granger.
the house speak about the house and trying to convince this guy to buy the property. It's a very nice house, it's very big, it's 4 bedrooms. The floors, there were some guys that are construction guys that were there working on it. The floors were very wavy. One of the main walls went through the floor and was on the ground.
Yeah.
And
Friends of termites. Yeah.
so he came to me after the other people left, and he said, "So what do you know? I don't want to do his accent, but what do you think about the price?" And I said, "Well, you could either tear it down and build a house that would be good and you could make a lot of money on, or you could sell it for $35,000." Well, I was the enemy and get off my property, but it was such a piece of junk, and he was talking about, well, he was just going to bring renters back. And so my question became, do I contact the city of Taylor and say he's got renters in a house that's just about to fall apart? Because they don't have to have it inspected like you do in a lot of cities. But it was the first time where it wasn't a maybe. It was, I'm definitely not listing that. It was, unique. Sometimes you go, that price seems a little high, or I'm just going to get my sign out there. This was, oh. No.
This was
So-
what's that dude smoking?
Oh,
You know what rang in my head when you said that? Do you remember Claire Mashburn, Claire Easley?
yes.
Yeah, a broker here for a long, long time, passed away a few years ago. I'll never forget. She saw something like that. She'd say, "It's a scraper."
That was your whole listing
Yes,
presentation.
it's a scraper.
Sell a lot.
The floors were made out of paneling, wood paneling and paneling.
So this is a true DIY.
This is a true.
This is a true scraper.
It's a scraper.
This is a DNR.
Anything else?
I don't know. It's time up, I guess.
All right. Well, thanks for being here.
Thanks for reminding me that I was here.
Reminding you that Paul's over. Got it. All right, I got to go grab my book really quick, and then we're going to go and get started. I left all my notes that I took at Advanced Coaching Skills Camp in my office, so I'm going to go grab that real quick. Hey, Chris. Good morning. Good morning. Man, this is awesome. It's like being back 7 weeks without a team meeting. It's kind of sad. Don't prejudge. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just happy to be here with you. Didn't mean to run you over there. Hey, I'm happy to be here. I had an amazing weekend at Advanced Coaching Skills Camp in Colorado Springs, and I'll tell you what, they have fall up there. It's coming next week. We're going to get down to like 89, right? Yeah. 80? Okay, good. Yeah, so woke up every morning. It was about 45, 50 degrees. In the evenings, yeah, I'm just put it in your head. That's what's coming. In the evenings, 75 degrees and nice breeze, and yeah, it was glorious. So, and then Yeah, so let's just go ahead and go into our team meeting. Let's see what Dr. John Maxwell has to say, and then you're going to hear what not Dr. Scott has to say.
Maxwell, my name is John. People come to me often and they talk about goal setting. And I think goals are important. I've set a lot of goals in my life. But if somebody came to me and said, John, would you rather me be goal conscious or growth conscious? I would always side to being growth conscious. And let me explain why. I think when we're goal conscious, it's a wonderful motivator and it's very clear and we have direction, and so we're going for that objective. But the problem with goal consciousness is when we achieve it, there's a tendency for us to say, what's next? And sometimes I've seen people literally stop on that goal and rest there and maybe celebrate, but never move on. But when you're growth consciousness says there is never a stopping place. In fact, I tell people, if you're growth conscious, you'll hit every goal that you have in life because you'll just hit it and just keep on growing. The difference is that if you're growth conscious when you hit a goal, you appreciate the goal, but it doesn't stop you there. You say, well, that was good. That was a marker in my life. That was a milestone in my life. And wow, I'm glad I got there. Felt good. But you never think of stopping because there's so much more growing to do. So I would just encourage you to not just do away with goals. I don't think that works. But I think that in your goals, above that, have a sense of that I'm always learning, I'm always growing. And I've never met a person who said, man, I'm telling you, John, I just stopped the other day because I'm growth conscious and I just now have grown to my maximum potential. I know everything I need to ever know in my life in the world. I've never met a person like that. I've met people that met their goals and stopped, but I've never met a person stop if they're truly on a growth journey. I encourage you, kind of choose that path and see what happens.
So, unlike John Maxwell, I've met people who think that they know everything and have done everything and things like that. And then when you go in and interrogate the reality, you find out, maybe not so much. So, at Coaching Skills Camp, I've talked about this guy before. His name is Clint Pulver. I showed you the video of his Mr. Jensen story. And Mr. Jensen's the guy who gave him the drumsticks when he was about 10 years old and said, hey, you know, you don't have a problem. You're just a drummer. Because in class he was sitting there, he'd always be, you know, playing with his hands and tapping the pencil on the table and doing things, fidgeting around all kinds of different ways. And at one point in time, his teacher in a different class sent him to the principal's office, and the principal said, okay, well, I have a solution for this. Every time you have that urge to start playing with your hands and making a bunch of noise with your hands, you just sit on your hands. And Clint said, the principal thought he was a genius. So he sent Clint back to the classroom, and about 5 minutes go by, and Clint's sitting there, and he's like, uh-oh, I feel like I'm going to have to do something. So he sits on his hands. Well, then what happens? His feet start tapping. And you know, one thing after another, he couldn't keep it together because he was ADD. You know, 25 years ago, that wasn't as common of a diagnosis, and you know, you just went to the principal's office if you're doing that stuff. They didn't exactly know what it was. And then Mr. Jensen, this gentleman who he's standing next to, sat down with him and said, hey, you know, I don't think you have a problem. I think you're just a drummer. And he gave him a pair of drumsticks and ignited the possibilities within inside of him that led him to being able to do some incredible things. So I saw him speak to us back in July, and then he came and spoke to us this weekend. And if you have an opportunity to go on YouTube and just type in youtube.com/Clint Pulver and watch some of this gentleman's videos about his life story, he also had a challenge when he was 18 when he was 18 years old. He got his private pilot's license, and then he loved it. He went and flew all over the place, and you know, just had a lot of fun with it. And then he's Mormon, so he went on his 2-year mission, and then came back. And when he was at the DMV renewing his license, you know, when you put your face in that thing and you look at the letters and You have to read the letters. Well, he said that the lady at the DMV said, go ahead, put your face in there, push down really hard, it's going to click, and then you'll see the letters. And so he puts his face in there, clicks, and he says, I don't see any letters. And she says, okay, well, let me wipe it off. And then he does it again, and he says, I don't see any letters. And so after about 3 times of that happening, she says, look, Clint, I've been here for 7.5 hours now, and every single person who's come by here has been able to see letters in that thing. So she walks around the counter, puts her face down, and reads all the letters. And then she looks at him and she says, how did you get here today? And he said, well, I drove. And she said, well, you're not driving home. And it turns out that he had a rare condition called, I think he called it keratosis or something like that. And basically that afternoon he called his mom and said, hey Mom, can you pick me up from the DMV? They're holding my license until I can prove to them I can actually see. And they went to the doctor, found out about his rare condition, and his doctor told him that, hey, you're probably going to be legally blind by the time you're 35 years old. And about 5 years ago, they had a trial for his condition, and they did a surgery on him, and a total of 1,000 people in the country that have his condition, and they've completely stopped the progression of the disease with this trial that they've done. And I tell you all of that because he is one of the most positive people that I have ever met, and he's got such a talent for inspiring others. And the lesson that he taught us was a lesson that was really for leadership, and I feel that it could be implemented in your real estate business as well. And he said there's 3 foundational principles. And when you make your company better, it's better for the entire world. And when I say when you make your company better, it's better for the entire world, I want you to think, when I make my real estate business better, it's better for the entire world. It's better for everyone that's involved. And he said, number 1, you've got to spark the possibilities. So when you're sitting there having an appointment with somebody, maybe they're selling for a tough reason. Maybe it's, a death in the family. Maybe it's a divorce. Maybe it's, having to downsize because they just found out they have a medical condition or something like that. Are you looking for a way in that conversation to get them to see the positive side of things? Are you finding a way to get a smile out of them, even in a time that may be really, really dark for them, that may not be the most happy time that they've ever been in? Are you looking for a way to make sure that you can move them on to the next thing and then feel really good about it? And then the number 2 thing that he said is keep it simple. Oftentimes we overcomplicate with so many details of, hey, here's what I'm going to do. This is what we're going to do in our transaction. We have 128 steps to every single process that we do. We're going to keep you informed every single step of the way. If that were me and you were doing that listing presentation to me, I have 3 things that I want you to do. Put it on the market, tell me what the price is going to be, and get it sold. I don't care what you do behind the scenes.
Right.
You're going to have to know what your client is going to want. You need to know what their personality is, because you may have that person who was an engineer and is going to want every single step of the process. They're going to want to know every single place that you've done something. They're going to want to know when you text the other person on the other side of the transaction. They want to know all that stuff. And then you're going to have those other people who just want what Scott wants. Sell it. That's all I care about. Sell it. Get me the right price. Get it sold. So really, I guess there's 2 things that Scott wants. I'm that guy. All right, and then you got to remember that the people that we're working with, they spell realtor or relationship T-I-M-E. When they're working with you, they see really 2 things: time and what? Money. So are we providing a world-class experience to them and keeping it as simple as possible? Because how many of you guys have gotten, frustrated with how emotional sometimes sellers and buyers can be? Yeah. If you ever get to a point where that makes you completely numb, I want to encourage you to do something. Go buy a house and move. Yeah. If you get numb to the whole process, move. Because you'll remember what it's like. It's a stressful experience, right? And then great realtors know what they need to do. Good realtors know what they need to stop doing. Are there things in our business that we could stop doing that will ultimately make the experience even better for the people that we're working for? And I want to encourage you to think about that today. What is something that you can stop doing that will make the experience even better so that you can focus on the other things that you should be doing and make those even better? Is it hiring a transaction coordinator so that you can then focus on the experience with the other people that you're working with? And for me, if I hired a transaction coordinator when I was selling real estate, I would have been able to focus on so many other people who wanted to buy or sell or invest in real estate, and I could have let somebody else take care of that entire thing, which is the fun part for me. Now, if you love doing paperwork, I think the saying here in Texas is bless your heart. I'm not that person, but more power to you. And then the third thing is communicate to collaborate. What that means is, how often are we checking in on our people that we have a buyer representation agreement with or a listing agreement with? Are we making it a priority to check in with them on a weekly or bi-weekly basis about what they're looking for, and asking questions like this? Maybe you don't have to phrase it in the exact same way, but what can I do as your realtor to keep you here? Meaning keep you with me if you're having a listing that's, maybe a little bit stale. It's been on the market for a little while. Where's the DNA that you have in that? Where's the DNA that they have in that? How can we bring that to light without making them feel guilty about it? What are the questions that we can ask? The number 2 thing, what is getting in the way of your success? What's getting in the way of us getting this home sold? Why would you ask that question? Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what do you believe is preventing your house from selling? Why would we ask that?
Get right, get real.
Get right, get real.
They got the answer. They know the answer.
And a lot of times they're just what? Afraid to say it. Because when they say it, it does what? It makes it real. Exactly. If we ask them the question, hey, what do you believe it is that's keeping your house from selling? And they say, well, I think it might be priced a little bit too high. Oh, great. So here's an amendment that I've already prepared because I knew that you'd come to that conclusion today. Here's what I believe that the market's dictating we need to be at in order to be ahead of where everyone else is. Go ahead and sign here and we'll make the adjustment immediately. When you ask the questions that are open-ended questions that give them the ability to tell you what's really going on, they take ownership in the answer because they said it. It's just like when you go and put a 411 together for yourself. The 411 is an impactful and powerful tool, even more so if you have a coach, because then the coach can go right back to your 411 and says, and when you're not on your goal, and say, hey, here's what it says right here that you want to accomplish. Are you doing the things in your business that you're supposed to be doing in order to accomplish that goal that you said you wanted to accomplish? Because you said it, not me. That's not my goal, that's yours. And then finally, the last question that you would lead to from the previous question is, what's getting in the way of your success? Is how can I help you get there? What can we do together to take you to that place where you ultimately want to be? And for you, knowing their motivation is a pretty powerful way to help get them back to where they need to be, right? And then the last and final thing that he taught us was never forget we find purpose through people. We are blessed with the opportunity to be in a really, really powerful relationship with people in so many different facets of their lives that we get a unique perspective on who they are, and we can sometimes help them find purpose through a transaction. How many breakdowns have you seen people have in a real estate transaction? A lot. Yesterday, exactly. You saw it. Yeah. Tom, there's no way I'm going to list it for that. Get out of here. Get off my property before I call the cops. You're trespassing now. Yeah. There you, did he really? Oh my goodness. Well, I just threw that one out there. Yeah.
It can happen.
It can happen. Yes, exactly. And you know, we've had other people who, you know, somebody turned around in a driveway of a listing, and the lady ended up pulling out a gun because she didn't want people turning around in her driveway. And we're like, ma'am, it's the people who are buying your house. Maybe we should be a little nicer to them. Thank God it wasn't our listing. It was someone else that had it. We represented the buyer though, right, Tom?
Oh my gosh, that wasn't in the driveway. That was, I have two 45s, and if you show up to do a walkthrough, mind you, I will shoot both of you. Does it say or not?
There you go. All right, so was this helpful? We've always got to make sure that we're putting our clients, you know, as close to perfect as possible when we first meet them. The John Maxwell taught me you've always got to put a 10 on someone's head, and they're the only people that can change that from a 10 to some other number. But when you first meet them, they are a 10 to you until they tell you they're not. All right, so the next thing that we've got is this right here. Hiring a real estate agent is a lot like hiring a photographer. You get what you pay for. You got the pro on that side and the do-it-yourself on the other. So choose wisely. All right, so we just finished Bold, and several of you were in Bold. I'd like to hear what some of your experiences from Bold 2.0 were. So anybody who would like to share, please feel free to do so.
It was completely different. If you've been to Bold before, you've not been to Bold now. It was more forgiving. I mean, Dad died during Bold, and it wasn't just me that experienced that. If you were having a challenge, that the coach actually worked with you instead of, it wasn't, they weren't looking to punish you, they were looking to help you grow. It was book-based, learning-based, and it was not really, it wasn't as rah-rah. It wasn't all about standing up and yelling, I'm a moneymaker every hour on the hour. It was about what you need to do to grow your business.
Yeah, it was authentic.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Stephanie.
For us, it was a much different experience than the first one that we took. And, but what thank you. And Dusty was a coach in the way that you did not want to disappoint him. Because you knew that with him being the coach up there, he also had a lot invested in what was going on. And for us, I have even felt it after Bold. We're still continuing on that track, and actually made the decision the week before it ended that I wasn't going to wait until that Wednesday afterwards to start. It was going to start that week before, so that when that week came on Wednesday, it was already a habit. I have a script partner now, things like that, so we're putting things into our life that we didn't do last time.
Good. Anyone else? Joseph, the one thing that I really loved, and I've shared with several people, is how you said you lead generate and focus on your time when you're at home, is you set the washing machine. And when the buzzer goes off, you know you've lead generated for, what is it, 52 minutes?
Just about right. 3 times yesterday.
3 times, there you go. So you lead generated for 3 hours between, yeah, there you go. There you go. That's intentionality if I've ever heard it. All right, anyone else? Dusty would like to come, I think he'd really like to come back and do another Bold for us because he truly enjoyed y'all. And So if you guys are open to having Dusty come back and doing their Bold for us next year, he asked if when we'd like to do it so that he can pre-fill it on his calendar. Yeah. Yes, exactly. So y'all let me know what your thoughts are on that, and we'll make it happen. We're going to do it again in August regardless of whether it's Dusty or not. So just let me know what your thoughts are. Any other experiences that you've had in there? Did you feel like it moved you forward? Yeah. Did it feel a lot different than before? Did you enjoy how you were able to redeem a foul by adding 25 people to your database? Yes. So that's the biggest thing about it was you're always going to move forward. You may not move forward as quickly as if you're not making those 100 contacts a week, yet you're adding people in a way that you know you can communicate with them effectively. Yes, Megan?
One other thing, just kind of putting it all together, is what the leadership has done over the last few years with doing the database too, generating referrals, I think really made it a lot easier for maybe us specifically as a group, since we were familiar with that, and it wasn't completely foreign since
Yeah.
it was invested into us before. So I think that made it a little bit, for those of us who may have already dug into that, it made it a little bit easier to digest some of the main tools that we're trying to use for that lead generation. And it's a lot easier to jump into that avenue rather than some of the more cold calling techniques that some people experience in other versions of Bolt. So
Yeah,
that's
we-
one of the other big things I hope people can take away from
We call it Do the Database 2 or DTD2 in other parts in the country where they haven't had the experience of having never-ending referrals or having the Database 2 before. When a Bold coach gets up and says, we're going to do DTD2, they think they're talking about Star Wars. So, all right, any other experiences? All right, let's move on. What do we got going on in the Market Center? We've got Command Central. Kristen is going to be leading that this next Monday, right, Kristen? Yep. And then we've got orientation with Lauren tomorrow. We should have quite a few people at that. If you haven't taken an orientation or you just want a refresher on some of the policies and procedures and things like that we got here in the Market Center, great time to do that. Our Zoom call is tomorrow from 2 to 3. How are those going, Kristen?
They're going really well. I guess I should talk on this for the folks out in TV land, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay, so for Zooms, we've been doing them as risk management. If you've missed them, we have had, I think maybe every week, 1 to 2 people show. And we've had both Mary and Avis on the calls, and it's been really great one-on-one time. Now that we're back to risk management on Tuesdays, we're going to go back to doing some more detailed risk management in terms of forms. How do you use this form? So tomorrow we're going to talk about compliance around contingencies as well as backup contracts. So if you've done, those are coming into play. I've gotten a lot of questions about them lately. So if you want to know how best to write a contingency offer or a backup contract, jump on the call from 2 to 3 tomorrow. I'd be happy to walk you through the process. So they're fun.
Good.
Yeah.
For those people who can't make it 2 to 3 tomorrow, are they recorded? And
They are recorded, and I think what I'm going to do, so now that I'm logged in online.
So all of the ones have been recorded that we've ever done for that. However, Kristen was on Wi-Fi for them, and sometimes they cut out a little bit. So now she's hardwired every single time.
Yes.
And so they'll be. We'll get them on our YouTube channel.
anticipating the next question?
Yes. Yes.
It'll be on our.
So-
It'll be on our YouTube channel for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We've actually got to go in. I got an email yesterday. Side note for y'all. I got an email yesterday. We had to delete all those other ones because our cloud storage for Zoom is full.
Okay. Okay. So
I'll take
we'll,
care of that.
okay. Well, wait before you do, because the last 2 were really good. So okay, cool.
I'll just
Yep.
go back to the really
Okay,
ones.
cool.
All right, and then round robin scripts with Tom from 12 to 1.
Thursday's gonna be with Diane, so.
Thursday's going to be with Diane
Last
this week.
We just had one person show up and it was hugely helpful for him and for me. And when more people show up, there's a lot more interaction and we all get to learn. It's not just scripts, it's scenarios. What do you do with this? Since we don't know who the other person was last week, he was, or she was feeling a little down about the business and the difficulty and all that stuff and what do I need to do and too many priorities. And so we worked on, focus. There's always only one best thing, which is also part of Bold, but it's the one thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, whether it's just one of you or if it's 2 or 3 or 4 or more, you're going to learn, and it's going to be good for all of us.
I want to add something to that real quick. So imagine you were going in for surgery, and the doctor was wheeling you, or the doctors and nurses were wheeling you down the hallway and into the emergency room, and they looked at you just before they were getting ready to put that mask on that puts you to sleep, and they said, "Man, this is the first time we've ever done this, and we're really excited about it." And then you're out. How would you feel? Terrified. That is why script practice and role play is so important, because if we don't do that, we're essentially going into that the exact same way as what I just described, you going in and seeing the doctor wheeling you into the emergency room and saying, "Well, hope this goes well. This is the first time we've ever done it. And oh, by the way, we've never practiced." So don't practice on your clients. Practice on Tom and Diane. They've got years of experience, and they're here to help.
And bring your phone and record the conversations too. I think a lot of times when I'm teaching, and I'm sure you get this a lot too, well, how did you learn how to say that? Well, it's just practice. We've said it again and again and again. So if you bring a phone and record what's being said or the conversation, you can go back and listen to it. It's really a great opportunity. Tom is great at what he does. Diane has been doing this a good amount of time and handles objections very, very well. So
And
definitely
that's one of the things that I used to do on listing presentations when I'd go and take a listing, is I'd put my phone on the counter or on the table like this, upside down, but I'd hit the record button beforehand, and I'd record the entire conversation so that I could go back and listen to it and figure out where I could have done better. It's like it's football season, right? Do you think football coaches are watching the game footage? What's that? Doesn't feel like it? Yeah, okay. Well, coaches go back and watch the game footage, right?
Right.
Why do they do that? So they get better. We've got to do the exact same thing. All right, let's keep going. 1 to 4 family contract class Thursday from 9 to noon.
Stephanie is going to be teaching that for us, so thank
Sweet.
you. It's going to be an awesome class. So
You've seen a 1 to 4 family contract a couple times, right?
Well, I haven't really practiced it. So everyone's going to be really excited because we're going to get to practice.
Good. Yeah, so that'll be right here in the Market Center. That will also be live streamed. So if you can't make it, just know that you have access to it anytime you need it. And then our committee meetings are going to be on Friday. We've got a whole bunch of committee meetings. Kristen, you want to talk about the committees?
yeah, so here's the thing. If you haven't come to a committee meeting yet, I'd encourage you to come join us. It's really a conversation about where we're heading, what direction we're moving forward in, and each of these committees is a part of your voice. And it comes back to the ALC. And because we're an agent-led company, this is super important. So I just want to get that out there to you. So tech committee, we're really talking about the future of tech, what's happening, where are opportunities, haha, pun intended, where are we going, what's going on, and how are we handling that as a market center. Career development, really, the focus this year has been on masterminds, and so we have gone through some growth with masterminds, and so how is that doing? What is it looking like? What is the feedback we're getting? Growth has to do with how we're growing as a market center. So where are the areas that we're growing into? Who is coming into the office? What are the needs of the agents that are coming in? What's the production level? And how can we support that while continuing to grow and support our current agent population? So what does that look like? And then of course safety, and we have been dealing this recently in safety. Of course September was Realtor Safety Month. Julie Jones did a great class. I think we had 2 people show up to that. So we're going to do it again because it's an NAR class and it's phenomenal. I think a lot of you have seen the video out about the realtor who gets attacked by some dude and it's recorded and he didn't, So those things are super important to know about. The other things we've done in safety committee are build a phone tree. We know that our friends to the west? In Texas, where am I going? In Houston right now are experiencing, thank you. I've been here almost 20 years, I should know. Are experiencing some flooding. and it tends to be this way every year about this time of the year. So we have a phone tree in the event that we have an emergency in the Market Center. So our ALC is now aware of who they have to call and how they get a hold of leadership. All of these things are being put into place by you as an agent population. So your involvement in these committees and how the Market Center is running is super important. So we'd love to see you.
And what's important about that safety committee and the phone tree is when we make phone calls and we find out that, hey, you know, if there's a natural disaster or something like that in our area and you need help, Kristen or myself can directly call KW Cares and say, hey, we've got an agent that has this need, and with KW Cares being right here in the Austin area, we can get that need fulfilled rather quickly.
Yeah.
So that's why the phone tree is important. Yes, Lauren.
Would you just say again, who can attend these committee meetings?
Literally everyone. Anybody who wants to attend a committee meeting can attend a
They
committee
don't
meeting.
have to be on the ALC.
Nope.
They don't have to, if they're interested, they come.
You could bring your
Any-
mom if you want to.
Yeah, any production level. It's not, you don't have a production level requirement. The one that's not on here is Culture Committee. Those meet on Tuesdays typically, and they're on our georgetowntraining.com. And that committee plans a lot of the events that we do. So we have Mardi Gras coming up, the Ice Cream Social, Poppy Fest, and we also Christmas Stroll, and the client pie party event that we have coming up.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna, do you want to talk
I
about that right
didn't
now?
put a slide up here for it because
All
I
right.
forgot to. So,
Okay.
who likes pie? Do you have clients that like pie? Would your clients like a pie? Perfect. Kristen, tell us about it.
Sure. So for those of you who are pass the torch. For those of you who are in Bold, you got to see the great Daily Group. If you recall the video, they talked about how they run their client events. And for anybody who's taken Never Ending Referrals, or who has done a client event before, understands how important it is. One, it's giving back to our clientele, and two, it's keeping in touch and it's a nurture. And it's a great opportunity because you have many times to reach out to them ahead of the party, and then you have many times to follow up with them after the party so you can continue to stay in communication with them. And one thing that we do as a Market Center really well through our Culture Committee is provide opportunities for you, no matter how big or small your database is, it's ever growing, right, to partner with us, and we partner with you in client appreciation events. And so the one that's coming up is a pie party. And the goal is that you can order pies through us, and Miss Ryan's going to come on up, yeah, and bring us the pie forms. Because she's been putting this stuff together, and we love Ryan. Everyone, hands for, for Ryan. And so what we're going to be doing is November 25th. It is a Monday from
3 to 5. It's the Monday before Thanksgiving.
We are going to have available to you the entire office. If you have an office, you can open your office doors. If you don't have an office space here, you can get a table and put together a table. And you'll be able to invite your clientele to come pick up a pie. Now, how will that happen? Well, you will use this order form that Ryan is passing out. We also have them at the front desk. We will email them out, also post them on Facebook. You will order pies through us. So you will purchase the pies. We will order them for you. So you'll fill out this order form. Tell us how many that you want. We're going to go into details on that in just a second. And we will order the pies for you. They will be delivered to you by us on Monday the 25th. And from 3 to 5, you can invite your clientele, whomever you invited to come pick up a pie, to come pick up that pie.
And you can buy a pumpkin pie for the low, low price of $3.98. An apple pie for $3.98, or if you really want to splurge, you can get a pecan pie for $5.94.
Yes. So
Small pies, right?
these are the 8-inch pies. Yeah.
Clarify that we will have them delivered to you. They're coming to the market.
Yeah, they're being delivered here to the Market
So
Center.
again, the goal is that you will either open your office doors if you have an office, or you'll just let us know that through your order form that you'll have a table here, and we'll have a table prepared for you. They'll be lined all over the Market Center, and your clients can come in and pick up a pie. So it's going to be a really great experience. I feel like for you and for your clientele, because the best part is by partnering, they're coming into an environment that's hustling and bustling and moving, and they don't know who are your people, who are not your people. It's all in partnership. Judy.
Where are the pies coming from?
H-E-B. So I have called a lot of places for pies, and H-E-B was phenomenal in terms of communication.
I have also tested a pie last week. It didn't last long in my house, so they're good.
Yeah.
I also bought another one yesterday. So I'm going through the order form, just a taste.
We have
to
a
make
very,
sure.
very strict process for making sure we have quality products around here.
I've already
Okay.
quality tested them and
Okay,
they're
good.
very good.
So I have on here, order
Here.
forms are due Halloween. So that gives you a whole month. And then I am going to, you can put on there, if you have a card on file, like you pay your agent bills on file and you want me to charge that, that's fine. If you want to pay with check, you want to pay with cash, whatever, that's fine. I'm going to do all the charging November 1st. So you have until November 1st to get me payment. By the end of the day, if by like 4 p.m. the card is declined, I don't have payment, unfortunately, we will not have a pie for you because we have to take it to the bakery and they have to special order all of our ingredients because they don't have enough for all of us. So bring me the order forms by the 31st and then I'll charge on the 1st. Donna's going to have a stack also at the front desk, and if you need it, we have like email copies or whatever. Just let one of us know how many pies you want and I will have a folder and I will take it to, I think her name is Ashlyn, who works at the HEB that we're working with. So, yep.
Yeah.
Are y'all gonna design some little something that you
We
can
are.
put on Facebook page? for
Yes.
our clients?
Yes, so Rachel is working, we actually had this conversation this
Rachel?
morning. Miss Rachel, round of applause for Rachel. She's working hard on a flyer that will go out that you can give. If you're not gonna do your own, you can use ours, or you can do plenty, and we'll do some social media stuff through Command. Also, you can do some social media stuff that has some great designs there as well. But we'll have that available for you here, hopefully by the end of the week, to get that out. Most importantly, we wanted you to know about this because our ALC, because we talked about we're agent-led, right, said that you guys want this order form to understand what you're going to be marketing to your clients for at least 6 weeks. So I think we're going to hit that deadline. So you'll have 6 weeks. I encourage you to not wait till the last minute. This is a great opportunity for you to reach out to your database and just say, hey, I was thinking about you. We're doing these pies. If they say, look, we're gluten-free, we can't do pies, we're not going to do pies, we're not going to be in town, that's okay. Because you have reached out and offered, you're going to invite them again through email, maybe do a social media post, you're going to follow up afterwards, hey, we are so sad that we missed you, that you couldn't attend our pie event, maybe next year, and and this is our next event that's coming up, whatever that looks like, right? So this is a great opportunity. But absolutely, if you don't get these in, I'm just going to mimic or repeat what Ryan says. By November 1st, you said 4? I would say noon.
No, the forms are due by 5
I-
p.m. the 30th.
Okay, 5 p.m. the 31st. There is a chance you will not have pies. And when I talked to the bakery, she said they order pie supplies a year in advance. And so because our pie order is going to be very large, they're going to have to order additional supplies, and they have to have them in by the date we're turning them in. I think it's by basically the 1st, so they can get the supplies, or they will not be able to complete the order. So I can appreciate that sometimes we don't time block, maybe. This is something you want to time block if you want to do this for your clients. So.
And one of the other scripts that Brian Buffini teaches is if you throw in a referral before the pies are delivered, I'll throw in the whipped cream for free. And believe
that's
it or
a great
not, they
idea.
actually get referrals off of that from calling so far in advance. So right now, while it seems like Thanksgiving is 2 months away, it's the right time to start making these calls to get prepared for that.
Yeah. David?
Are the container, or the boxes that they come in, are they gonna say HEB, or are they gonna just be plain white ones? Do you guys know?
And the ones I've tested, they don't, like, personally, in my own personal life, they don't have like an HEB sticker on it. They're just in like a brown box. But I can ask them. I'll email her today and make sure to see if we can. I know they're gonna have to seal the boxes, so that they're not in our cars, unfortunately, or fortunately.
We can request.
I will ask her. Since they're doing special for us too, since we've already been in communication
Yes.
with them.
They'll be able to do it because as long as they're charging, I've worked in an HEB bakery once upon a time.
Wait.
You and me both, girl.
So they will be able to, if anything, they may just end up putting one of the stickers, if you happen to have maybe a business card or something, to be able to stick right on top. And it's just because they have to at least also put the ingredients for
Like health reasons and stuff, yeah.
Would you guys like us to order a bunch of Keller Williams stickers to put on the top of the boxes?
Ooh,
Yeah.
there you go.
We can do that. All right. Okay. We'll do that.
Find out what size the HEB sticker will be.
I was gonna order big old bumper stickers. No, I'm just kidding. No, we'll go and get another PIDA product test and find out how big the sticker needs to be. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else on that?
No?
All right, let's keep going then. We've got, okay, so I'm not calling it our business planning clinic this year because of that video that John Maxwell talked about. We're going to call it our growth planning clinic. And the things that we're going to cover that day are not just your business plan. We're going to do goal setting. We're going to actually do your business plan. And then once we have your business plan, we're going to do your 1-3-5, which is your one goal, your business plan, 3 priorities for making it happen, and then 5 strategies for each of those 3 priorities. If you're confused right now, it's okay. We'll go over it that day. And then your 411, which is a number that I used to call when I was a child to find out a phone number. Now I have Google. And then ultimately your growth plan. We're going to come up with a growth plan for each of you because, like John Maxwell talked about, if we just have a goal, we hit that goal, and we stop, then what? So having a specific growth plan is the most important thing that you can do in your life, because then you're always moving forward. You're always getting more and more opportunities. Opportunities come because of the growth that happens every single day in your life. If you're intentionally growing every single day, more and more opportunities are going to come your way. So we're going to be talking about that day. There will be a link that's sent out to you today that you can sign up for it. We're only charging $10 for the business planning clinic this year, because that's just going to cover the materials for that class that day.
What was the date again?
October 17th, and it's going to be from 9 to 3. All right, and then that's all we got for that. Anyone have a new listing they want to tell us about? Yeah, Debbie.
One coming probably next week in Killeen. It's a small, 1,200 something square feet, but it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, but it's a corner lot, big lot, like a quarter-acre lot, fenced-in backyard, excellent shape. The flooring, they probably will allow for some carpeting because it's a little older home, but it's in great shape, and it's going to be right around 100,000.
Okay.
Okay. Sold.
Yes.
We have one in Killeen in White Rock Estates. Sits on a little over 0.35 acres, large, beautiful trees in the backyard, which in our area, having that is like huge plus.
Yeah.
4-bedroom, 2-bath, a home, 185. It's a little over 1,900 square feet.
Okay. Megan?
We've got one in Harker Heights, and it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, or 4-bedroom, 3-bath, single story, updated floors, updated back porch area, pergola, all of that. It does have some handicap accessible bathroom space, which is nice. Large quarter-acre lot, and listed at $285. It's on 403 Pioneer.
Great. Yeah, Oscar.
I got a new listing for Friday coming up at La Cantura.
Way to go.
La Cantura down the street here. It's about 3,000 square feet and 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-story, 3-car garage. So listed around $269,900.
Great. Okay. Anyone else?
I have 2 pocket listings. One is on 17 acres in Hutto. It's just under 17 acres. It's got a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house that's in good condition. It needs some updating. It sits right above the amphitheater, and so great seats for all the stuff that goes on in Hutto Amphitheater.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're working on it being, there is a deed restriction from the original ranch that was hundreds of acres that says no commercial, but it has been violated, and so we're working on whether that can be, amended for that property. She would like $899 for it. We'll see how that goes. The other one is, that's in Hutto. The other one is in Leander off of 2263 out Nameless, as it becomes Nameless Road. It's off of, forget the road name. Now it's,
Crystal Falls Park.
Anyway, I'll think of it in just a second. It's on just over 4 acres.
It's on that one street,
1,600 square feet house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. She's putting in new floors, painting interior, has done some updates in the kitchen.
It's got a nice barn, it's got a round pen, it's got a corral. She also boards and trains dogs, so there are 4 large dog kennels that are really nice. It's got an above ground pool with a nice deck, and we're looking at 425. She wants to be out of there November, December. We're working on the aesthetics, but if anybody wants to see it, I can arrange that.
Great. Anyone else? Yeah.
I have a listing coming soon in Grand Mesa at Crystal Falls.
Okay.
It's a little over 2,600 square feet, 2-story, 4 bedrooms, 2 full baths. It's got a little hideaway hidden room in the attic that's finished out, and on an acre, gated, very nice. We're looking at about 480.
Okay. Terry?
Just listed a new listing in Sonora West in Gerald. It's an LGI home, the kind of common floor plan, 3-2s, well maintained. Has a 30-foot easement behind it that separates it from the houses behind a little bit. It's 179.
Wow.
Yeah.
What street?
Judge King, 112 Judge King. So
Okay.
it's right there by the elementary school. It's a nice little house.
All right. Megan?
Pocket listing, thank you. In Burnett and Shady Grove neighborhood, this house is, honestly, it's way overbuilt. It's probably the top of the neighborhood. It's 4 bedrooms plus a study on almost an acre lot, corner lot. Pool, in-ground trampoline, pergola, green space, built in the last 2 years, absolutely stunning. There's probably a bunch of stuff I'm forgetting as well. Listed at 550, it's about 2,800 square feet out in Burnett, and I've got it coming soon, but I'll wait for that.
Okay.
Round Mountain Road.
Okay.
I have one in Pflugerville, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,498 square feet. A lot of mature trees in the front yard and in the backyard for 245.
Okay. Michael?
I have a new listing in Granger. It's actually a church, but
Cool.
it's listed as a residential, so it's not in the best condition, but could be turned into a really cool house. Might be rezoned to become a cool coffee shop or dance shop.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool place. Needs a little work, but little work, but it's pretty cool. It's 120.
120.
It's 3,600 square feet, 3,645.
All right.
Big lot, but right off both of the main streets, like a block. off,
Granger
so-
Street?
Granger Street, yeah.
Okay. Scott?
Sitting on 1010, Summerlin neighborhood in Leander, a little 3-2, 1,700 square foot, just shy of 230.
All right.
Pretty cute.
Okay. Anyone else? How about coming soons? Yeah.
I've got one over in Georgian Place over here. It's 3-2, 2-story, all bedrooms up. It's gonna be listed at 209 in 2 weeks.
Great. Any other coming soons? All right. How about price improvements? No? Yeah.
301 Windbridge Village over by Southwestern University. It's listed at 239. Really good investment property. It's been a rental property for Southwestern students for the last 10 years, and there's people that want to rent it. We just don't have anybody. The owner's done renting. So.
Okay. Tom?
No, I was telling her, yeah, we'll chat.
Okay. Any other price improvements?
I have a property in Gerald that's for lease. It should have been leased forever ago. It's only $1,400 a month. Come on, people. Bring it. It's on Captain Grumbles, which I asked Glenda.
That's why.
Yes, I asked Glenda if she named it because of her affinity for cats, but she said no.
Okay. All right. How about buyer needs? Stephanie?
We've got one 350 or below. They need a house that has at least a 20 by 30 workshop, and do not want an HOA. They're willing to go within 50 miles of the VA hospital in Temple. So if you've got something coming up, they're cash. So.
Okay. Yeah, Tom?
I've got a buyer that lives in California now, and just whenever they find the right house, they're gonna move here. Prefer Lakeway, under 750. So kind of hard for me to pin down their thoughts. We looked at some stuff, and so if you have anything that's coming on the market, just let me know so I can tell them about it.
Okay, Terry?
In Round Rock schools, they want in the, ACC district.
Yeah.
With a pool, single story, they'll go up to about 550. Even 6 or so, but, they've seen everything that's currently out there, so if you have somebody come up that already has a pool, maybe a study, 2,500 square feet or so,
Great. Anyone else? Yeah, Brenda.
I need a nice little house in Taylor, about 100, 120, something like that.
Okay.
1 story.
I got one for $35,000.
Yeah. Thanks for trying.
You can make it nice.
Yeah, exactly. For about $120,000, you could probably get that thing into scraper status. All right. Anyone else? Yeah, Cesar.
We got clients looking for 1 acre unrestricted land, or where they can park. You know, it could be a manufactured home with low restrictions where they can park an 18-wheeler and stuff like that. So, or if they have a gardening business where they can keep their equipment and stuff like that. So if you have anything in the Georgetown, Pflugerville, Manor, Round Rock area, just the outskirts where you can find a 1 acre.
Okay.
Most of them are under 200.
Yeah.
Something 3 to 4 bedroom, 2 bath in 76543. That's clean.
Yeah.
No, not 76543. 76542, 76548, or 76549, possibly, depending on the area. At least, trying to keep it at least below 130,000. Condition is, they're going to end up turning it into a rental property. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Less than a 30-day close, please.
Cash buyer?
No.
Okay. Got it.
But
Got
I
it.
can do fast VA loans.
Okay. Perfect. Yes.
I need an STR in Lago Vista for on the lake, 3.2, less than 380.
An
That's
STR?
Short-term rental investments.
Okay. Got it. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I have clients who live in Santa Rita Ranch and they're inheriting a brother-in-law from another state, and he is.
Did he get left to them in the will?
I think he's managed, yes.
Got it. Okay.
And so the people want some type of a townhome or a little condo, something with hardly any backyard, somewhere near Santa Rita Ranch. And I'm not finding anything like that. Is anybody? Around 225. Okay. Or
Talk to Tom.
no, I told him about Larkspur and Morningstar. Okay, no one has. Okay. That's all I can think. Just whatever anyone needs.
Well, there's going to be a new D.R. Horton neighborhood down off of Ronald Reagan. It's W Ranch or something like that.
That's Valley Vista.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
there's 2 new ones, one on Ronald and one on 183, almost the same.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I've taken them to already. Okay.
Yeah.
Just wondered if there's anything else.
Okay. Yeah, Megan.
Something completely off topic that just came in the email that I think is important while we're here.
Please.
The Placer site,
Yes.
we are good until October 22nd.
Okay. So they extended it.
They extended it, they said you can take a deep breath, they're gonna make sure that everything is smooth, so we have longer.
Good.
So if anybody was playing with that, I know Liz just.
I will be putting out, so that video that I sent out that was like a minute long, I'll be putting a more detailed video together for you that'll walk you through all of the steps you need to do with the inclusion of uploading your information about brokerage services to that new website so that you have it. That'll probably be about a 15 to 20 minute video that you'll get. That way you're fully informed on that. Yeah.
Can we also have something that, like a translator from .loop terms to DocuSign terms with all of this stuff, because
It's different terms, yes. Yes.
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Megan is in our beta test group for
Slash Liz, just.
yes, yes.
She's
For
patient.
all of the DocuSign stuff. Yeah.
So I have a question, on command.
Mm-hmm.
I started going into looking at doing the campaigns,
Mhm.
which you had talked about on Facebook. When I was going in, none of our listings are pulling in through KWLS onto the command site to do those. Is there, am I missing a back door somewhere?
You and I, let's look at it together.
Okay,
That's, it's probably something we're missing.
okay.
Yeah.
If we choose to keep our Playstore website and pay for it,
Mhm.
we still have to make the one that's in command, I guess now.
What's the question?
If you, she said, if you choose to keep your Playstore site, do you still have to make the one that's in command? My answer to that is I don't see why you wouldn't, because it would only help you with search engine optimization to have another place out there. And additionally, if anyone fills out anything on that page, it's going to feed it directly into command. Also, there will be a way to, if you choose to keep your Playstore site, through PySync, you can link the two together so that if anyone fills out any information on your Playstore website later, it'll still feed that into command for you. Yeah.
If you have your own domain name, are you gonna be able
Mhm.
to show how to?
Yeah, you can forward. You can link your domain names and forward them, all that stuff.
Through command or through?
You're gonna have to do it through your domain name provider. Yeah. All right. Any other questions about that?
And we shouldn't do that yet, then?
If you want to go ahead and start working on it, you can. You have until the 22nd before it's going to push it out and make it public for you. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, because the first thing I did this morning is I went to stolar.kw.com to see if my new website was up, and I saw that it was still the Playstore website. So thank you for telling me about that email.
Well, it just came through and Liz,
Yeah, just like, they just did it like, maybe like, yeah, an hour ago.
Great. One other thing that I wanted to tell you about before we invite our sponsor in, I've started a podcast called Great by Choice. Thank you for the name, Judy. And this last week I interviewed Susie Goal, and I'll be sending out that podcast today with the along with the link for the business planning clinic. She's got an amazing story, and got to learn some pretty neat things about her. And then she shared some about how she's been so successful in her real estate business. And we'll be doing that on every other week. I'll have one that comes out for you where you get to learn about one of the stories of one of the agents in our office or one of the leaders in our community, and how they've become successful at what they do. So I figured that would be a neat way for us to really get to know one another by truly being able to have their story. And I know that we'd love to be able to take every single person in our office out to have coffee and get to know their story. So I'm doing the legwork for you. I don't even drink coffee. So, all right, let's bring in our sponsor. Come on in. Tell us who you are.
Stacy Blake.
All right, Stacy.
With a claim to home warranty.
Great.
Maybe I could get some help.
You got it.
Tossing those out. I appreciate it. Hi, Stacy Blake with a claim to home warranty.
Here, you want to take one and pass it around?
Here, I love that. I've been in home warranty for almost a decade. Opened another company I worked for 8.5 years and was offered an opportunity to invest and part own this company and open it in Texas, and that's what I've done. I love it. Acclaimed is awesome. We're doing a fantastic job. In the last year, we have 98.2% approval rating. I always hear from realtors and homeowners, what are these things for anyway? Because they don't cover anything. Well, we're changing that. So 98.2% of anything that's come into our office has been approved. Okay, so that's good stuff. Is everybody in here talking to their buyers about Freon and the phase out and what's happening with that? So if they're buying a house tomorrow with a Freon R22 AC unit, it would be really nice if y'all would share with them that January 1st of 2020, Freon is going to be completely phased out. It still can be used, but they need to know what's in store for them, because when that unit dies, they're not going to be able to get the parts most likely, and we're going to convert them over to the new Puron system with our 575 plan. If you look in the brochure, it's a little pink column. We will convert them over, and what's so great about that is most home warranty companies only want to cover what's in failure at the time. So outside unit dies, they call us after January 1st, whatever it might be. We not only replace what's in failure, but we're also going to go inside the attic and we're going to pull all that down and we're going to convert all of that over to Puron for them. So we're talking an $8,000 to $12,000 expense, and I haven't seen an out-of-pocket more than $437 since we've been replacing these units. So
I think it's pretty awesome. I just wanna make sure that y'all are touching base with them. I wish they talked about it on the news a little bit where homeowners knew what was about to happen. And I think y'all are the next best thing, from the news, because you see them and you talk to them, and I know they're gonna appreciate it. I have had some homeowners call me upset because they didn't know what was about to happen to them. So, anyway, but I just wanna let y'all know, we do filter delivery. We will mail your filters to your front door. I get mine sent to me every quarter. They're at my front door. It reminds me to get them changed. I don't have to go buy them. We do a lot of little things like that. We have our own security system. So if your buyers are buying a home with a installed unit already, or if it's not, we will install the product for them, or the security system. We'll monitor it for them for $40 a month, and they get a free Nest or doorbell Ring camera as a gift. We will set up the man, gentleman, or female, I guess, to come install that for them, and it's just a gift from us. So,
Awesome.
just really good stuff. Anybody have a question or a scenario that they wanna make sure is not gonna happen with me?
Is there a cap on the AC?
Nope,
offering?
unlimited AC units. The only way we are able to recoup a little money is if it's over 5,000 square feet. We do charge $80 per thousand over that 5,000.
But as far as free, recharge amount,
All unlimited. Yes, we have exceptional coverage. I do see all the claims that come in too. I am really the last person that will make the decision on if it's an ugly claim. Maybe it's something we wouldn't normally cover, but if it's one of my amazing agents and this is one of their amazing clients that refers them a lot of business, I'm gonna jump in there and I'm gonna solve that problem real
So make sure you're not one of her bad agents.
I may not get involved as quickly, no, I'm kidding. But I do have a lot of control. I'm at the ground level. I can make a phone call to the owner and say, I don't like how this claim has been handled in Austin. So, I love that part of it. I like to be able to control some of that part. So, any other questions for me? We do have listing coverage. I've made it my own kind of listing coverage. And what I mean by that is the free listing coverage that I know y'all know about. The problem with that, and I've done the data with my previous company, there was so much loss because there was no skin in the game for that listing agent to promote us on the other side. Or to let them know that, by the way, we have listing coverage on this property. We did an HVAC tune-up. Now there's history in the database. It'd be smart for your buyers to keep that policy. A little something. Problem is, there was so much loss, they were denying claims to make up the money. Somewhere the money has to be made up.
Yeah.
So the way I do mine is we go out there, we spend $1,500 to fix the AC. Buyers aren't gonna buy it anyway if that's the problem. You had to get it fixed. We go out there, buyers don't choose us. They only owe us the $395 for the standard coverage. So we got them a contractor, they didn't get price gouged, they had it done quickly, and they only paid 66% less by using us. It's not a bad deal. At least we are able to not have to deny claims. 98.2% is pretty awesome. So I appreciate y'all very much. Thank you. Yes?
How about window tensioners?
Those little
I
thingies?
see a lot of those go bad.
Yeah, we don't cover windows. Most home warranty companies don't. Window washing's a whole nother story, but we don't cover that. Everything else is in the infrastructure of the home. I mean, you walk in, all the electrical, plumbing, microwaves, garbage disposal, grinder pumps if you sell a hill country home, all of that. But, sorry.
All right, anything else? All right, let's give it up for her.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, does anyone have anything else that they'd like to talk about today? All right, y'all have a wonderful day. I'll see you later.